And we were like, oh, Beyonce's not coming. She's been here every night, so she's probably not going to come, tonight while we're here, whatever it's in the third. No lie, about 10 minutes later after we said that to each other, Beyonce walks in.
Yeah.
Self-quarantining.
And a quarantine order.
Quarantined in their...
Held in quarantine.
Quarantine.
The quarantine in place.
Quarantine for the required 14 days.
Hey, what's up, people? This is the QT, aka Quarantine Talks, and I am the JC, aka your friendly nose ring neighborhood Negro. And today, I got my personal friend, my homie, Gabriel Williams. All right, Gabe, if you nasty. I don't know where the LA accent came from, but I feel like it was bad.
That's because that shit was trash, homie.
Gabe currently runs social media and engagement for the iOne Digital. If you don't know, that's the digital brands of Urban One, the largest distributor of urban content in the US of A. But back in the early 2007s, Gabe and co-founder Ray Holiday created the game-changing blog Stuff Fly People Like. All right, we discussed him going from backup singing in LA, baby woo woo woo, to T-Mobile hustling in NYC.
Hey, yo, got that sidekick, got that G1, you get G1.
To becoming an overnight celebrity.
Really, nigga?
I cannot, bro. Like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to sleep after this. We discuss how Stuff Fly People Like separated itself from the pack, why he's hesitant to jump on that NYC to LA bandwagon, tips for being a social media guru like himself, and the best night of his life that just happens to include Beyonce. And then, of course, like people do, we exchange stories about the warmth and brilliance of Kelly Rowland. Because, god damn it, she's still one of the most beautiful human beings I've ever seen in my life. My God. All this, of course, after this commercial break. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Quarantine Talks. Today I got with me that guy Gabe Williams. He's there, he's everywhere. You know what I'm saying? This man's literally everywhere. Like, I don't know how to introduce him. He's just, the media guru. He'd be everywhere. So, like I was saying, I normally start off with the first one is, man, tell the people who you are, what you do, where you from.
Oh, man. Well, again, as you introduced me, I am Gabriel Williams. Nickname is Gabe, so everybody calls me Gabe, of course. I am currently the associate manager of social media for iOne Digital. And my accounts that I handle are, like Global Grind. But I also kind of, work around Bossa, Hip Hop Wire, and most of the pop culture sites that we have on the platform. But yeah, I am the associate social media manager there, along with influencer engagement. Also ties into my position. So I work a lot with not just celebrities, but also with influencers within the social media realm of things that are doing their thing, of course. Mm-hmm. So other than that, I mean, I wear many hats.
Yeah.
So but primarily that's what I'm doing as of now. So, but yeah, I mean, in the past, I'm sure most are familiar with the site that myself and Ray Holiday, shout out to Ray Holiday, we started Stuff Fly People Like it's been over 10, 11 years ago. Yep. Probably going on 20 years now, close. Yep. But no, we started there and worked our way into the whole media realm of things. And it started from there, man. And now I'm, managing social media, which is kind of crazy, but, that's how things happen. And,
one of the OG social media influencers is managing social media influencers. Ain't that crazy?
Very crazy. Very crazy. Went from writing, stories and blogs and, covering different things to, now managing social media. So It's just like, it's crazy. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do in a nutshell as of the moment.
So how'd you get into this role? Because I mean, like, how do we go from background singer to this? Like, I'm just trying to, how do we do that?
Well, the background singer.
I told you I did some history, nigga. I told you.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Background singing happened early on in the years. I don't know. It's just, once I, moved to New York from Miami. Miami is where I was born and raised. And then I moved to LA actually, and stayed in LA for a couple of months, and then I moved to New York. And while I've been in New York, New York is a melting pot. There's so many things to do, so many things to be involved in. And, I came to New York with the mindset of, working at a label. I want to be in A&R at a label, that whole thing. So, looked into that and did a little bit of research, and, things didn't quite work out, for me jumping into that spot. There was a lot of things that, you need to be a part of, or people that you need to know to get into, the whole label situation and stuff like that. So I wasn't quite ready for that. I had contacts, but it just wasn't happening at the time. So, ended up working a 9 to 5, and, so I would have money in my pocket, stuff like that. And then eventually later on, down the line, Ray and myself ended up meeting, and then we just kind of, started Stuff Fly People Like, and that came, into fruition. And a lot of things started happening from there, and just us growing individually and as a company and meeting people and stuff like that. And then again, later on down the line, we end up doing somewhat of a studio partnership deal with iOne Digital.
Okay.
So we ended up, doing that partnership and working out of their office and having a connection with them. And then that led into other roles within the company that me and myself and Ray ended up, applying for, or they asked us to be a part of. And that's when the social media role came in for me. And I was working social media for another platform, which is called Cassius, Cassius.com.
Okay.
And I started with them, and then it just kind of folded into just different other social media roles with other platforms within the company as well. Mm. And yeah, that's how that started, man. I never, to this day, I'm just like, wow, how did this even happen? But, when you're in the right place at the right time,
right,
it just happens that way, man. Like, and then, I guess with my, I was approached with the position, and, they asked me, it's like, you work your social media well, you're an influencer, why don't you work social media for one of the platforms? And I was like, okay, not a problem. What I was already doing with Stuff Out People Like, with myself, branding myself, it kind of just somewhat, pushed a job in front of me that I didn't know that was going to be in front of me.
But so, okay, so taking it back to the genesis of all this, how did Stuff Fly People Like come about? Because this is like, y'all came out, it was a good time for it too, because you came out like, what, 06, 07? Yeah. So like, I was just graduating high school, so that's, we gonna date myself and, but whatever. But I was just graduating high school, but like, the thing that was interesting about the internet in like 2006 to right around 2011 was like the blog age was real. Like it was, like writing was a thing, actual blog, like people took time to read actual blogs, things popped off from blogs, Tumblr, all of that stuff. So like, how did Stuff Fly People Like come about? And then how did you meet Ray?
It's funny, the way me and Ray met, we met through our jobs in a sense. At the time, I was working for a cellular company, and at that time, he was working for a security company.
Boost
so
Mobile?
he was a manager of at a security company.
Boost
so
Mobile?
His officers,
Boost Mobile?
No, not Boost Mobile.
It just seems fitting. Like when I think about it, it would be like it had to be Boost Mobile. Okay,
no
cool.
Shade to Boost Mobile,
right?
But shade, but no. No. So working for a company. And his officers were actually in the stores that I worked in, or in most of the T-Mobile stores. I guess I could say now what company it was.
Yeah.
And he would come in all the time, checking his officers and stuff like that. And then we would also run into each other on different commutes back home, and come to find out we lived exactly down the block from each other and didn't realize it. So
New York is fun.
We're like, yo, keep seeing you. What the heck, And I think your officers in my stores, this, that, and the third. So that's how we made a connection. It's almost like God kind of like, made us cross paths almost every day or every other day, man. It was kind of crazy. So we had to like find out who each other were. Like it was just crazy. And then we had similar styles and stuff like that. So we kind of have on literally like the same thing, whether it was a jacket or a shoe or some type of pant or something. It was just something like, so you just knew that there was some type of chemistry there that, you know, I have to get to know this person. This person is definitely probably going to be one of my best friends later on down the line. And that's how that started, man. And so we, you know, once we connected and got to know each other and became best friends, we noticed that we had an interest in blogs. So we would be talking on the phone every day and just like discussing what's going on in media and you know, on reality shows and stuff like that and what sites we were reading and all this good stuff. And that's how that happened, man. That was back in the day when Concrete Loop was popping and Nicole Bitchy, you know, the sites like that really inspired us to, you know, do what we do today. Right. And even back then, sites from, you heard that new.com and oh my God, it was just like so many sites then. Yeah. And so at that time, you know, we decided to, you know, we came up with the name and then we decided to get started, get things going. We were trying to figure out a plan as far as what would be the plan, you know, for us, like what would separate us from everybody else. And we noticed at the time that no one was showing their face. So this is the era of blogging where no one was showing their face. You didn't know who anyone was, except maybe one or two people, what have you. But you would never know who was blogging at all. So we decided to just go ahead and do a full-on shoot or whatever the case may be and just put our faces on top of the site. So when you came to the site, you saw our faces. Right. Yeah, so we decided to brand ourselves with the blog, and then that's how that popped off. And then next thing we knew, it flew. Like people started recognizing me at work. It got crazy. They were like, "Wait, you have that blog called something like Stuff Fly People Like Us." I was like, "Yeah, you know." So it was kind of weird because I'm at work. I'm like, you know, right. I'm at this 9 to 5, but people are seeing me in Getty and stuff like taking pictures with celebrities and all that good stuff. Right. So it was just like, you know, it was weird at first, but then that's why I realized that, yo, this is getting out here. Our site is getting out there, and we didn't even realize it. You know what I mean? You never know who's watching. It may not be getting these crazy numbers, but it was still getting the traction that, you know, it needed to get for people to recognize who we were. And then, you know, I think when it really hit me was I was at work again, and I was actually just walking out my door from work and heading to like the sneaker store next door, whatever the case may be. And I got recognized by, it was like maybe about 4 or 5 women. And so like as soon as I walked up, they're like, "Gabriel?" And I'm like, "What? Yeah, what's going on?" It was like, oh my God, we read your site every day. We love you, this and that. And I'm just like, what? They was like, "We're from Toronto." And I'm like, "Toronto?" Wow. That's when it really hit me. They asked to take a picture and everything. And I'm just like, nah, this can't be life. Like, seriously? Like, you know, you wouldn't think people are paying attention to what you're doing. And they are. Like, it was just, I don't know. I was taken back, but it was just like, at the same time, I was kind of like, you know, thanking God for people even seeing what we were doing at the time.
When did that transition, I guess, when did you both realize, like, okay, maybe we can, like, make money with this and not be at T-Mobile in a security place, in Securitas? Like, when did that happen?
I think that happened, like, we were researching before while we were working these 9 to 5s. Right. But I think it took for, again, God to come in and kick us out of our 9 to 5s. So I think at one point, Ray got laid off 2 years before I did. Okay. So 2 years later, I think I got laid off, or a year later, or something like that.
This would be right around what? The recession, right? The last one we had.
No, it was maybe a little bit before that.
Maybe before, okay.
But yeah, it took us getting out of that comfortable spot. You know what I mean? Sometimes we use our 9 to 5 as a clutch. Right. And not really getting to doing something that you love. Right. Because of the fact that you want to work this 9 to 5 and pay your bills, and you're not making money off of, you know, your dream job or your dream.
Not paying your bills, because that is a very important step, ladies and gentlemen, exactly. Boys and girls. But I know exactly what you're saying. Though,
but I think at the time, like God knew that we were using that as a crutch, so he was like, you know what, you guys are too comfortable, let me let you go. So yeah, it took getting us kicked out of those positions to really dig and research. Okay, how can we really make money on the blog again? And then the funny thing that's when things started kicking in. We started getting, different ads that wanted to be placed on the site. We started to get different partnerships, people calling us saying, hey, can you do this with Heineken and, stuff like that. Different things just kept falling in our lap, and it was kind of crazy. Wow, collecting unemployment. But but yeah, it's just funny how things just happen, man. Time is something else, but time can also be a good thing. So,
because that was always that's always a wonder. Like the blueprint is kind of here now. Like it's kind of established now, but like back when you guys were doing it, like. Okay, so social media wasn't a thing. It wasn't even really invented. It hadn't popped off yet outside of MySpace. And so it's like MySpace and Black Planet, like that was it. And so like it was just kind of like one of those things where like how do you, in my mind, I always wanted to, ask like how did you guys like learn to like leverage that in a system that wasn't even a system yet, It was kind of like it wasn't a thing yet. Like it wasn't even and it's weird to think back to then because it's like, I don't know, you were kind of like at the forefront of, again, like I said, being like you guys were social media influencers before social media influencer was a title,
Yeah, and I think that came from, again, us branding ourselves the way we did when we first started. And again, I think it was really that golden touch of just us putting ourselves at the top of that site, saying this is who we are, this is who runs stuff like people like. And we weren't, hiding behind a keyboard.
Right.
We didn't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, we started off kind of telling the truth about, certain things about what we didn't like and what we did like. Because at that time, we realized that blogging was important. And it was the way of, the new form of media, and we'll probably eventually take out magazines and stuff like that, which it somewhat has. Right. So, and still doing.
What's going on with Stuff Flat People like now? Is that like still the thing, or is it like folded into what you guys do now? It's kind of like
it's folded into what we do now. I mean, things are kind of like on hold with Stuff Like People like currently at the moment, because we're in the middle of rebranding and just figuring out some other options when it comes to the site. And then we folded into different areas within iOne Digital, within the company and stuff that we do now. So it's kind of taken over. Because we're so busy on that end, to the point where, we still have to go back and rebrand and stuff like that with Stuff Like People like. So, it's a little hiatus right now, but it's not going anywhere. But yeah, our new roles basically have, taken over our lives, so to speak.
And then one quick question I always like to ask people in partnerships, like, what's like a do and a don't? Do you think that makes a partnership great? Like, and do you feel like you need a partner to succeed? Because in you guys' relationship, I kind of noticed like you behind the scenes and Ray is like way up in front of the camera waving like with the light on. You know what I'm saying? So like, how does that work? And do you feel like that needs to happen?
A partnership doesn't need to happen per se. I think when it comes to a partnership, although you don't mix, or, they say not to mix a friendship with partnership, I think the reason it worked between me and Ray is because we were friends first and then ended up being partners in a partnership later on. I think since it worked that way, we kind of knew each other already, so we knew how each other would operate. At the same time, I think it also worked because we're the same, but we're not exactly the same person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like you said, Ray could be up here in front of the camera, doing this thing. I'm more, at the same time, laid back.
Right.
I can be laid back and be me and still be behind the scenes doing work while Ray is doing, doing what he does in front of the camera, this, that, and third. And we're good because it just, I feel like if we were the same people, in a sense, I think there will be a clash. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like one needs to take on one role and the other needs to take on another role for it to actually even out. Now, at the same time, we're both personalities, but we're personalities in our own way. And I think people also get it mixed up as well. Is like if you're partners, you have to be doing the same exact thing, then that's not true.
Right.
At the end of the day, there's a partnership in a business, but there's different personalities as well. So one person is going to eventually take their own path as far as what they want to do, and the other would do the same thing.
Right.
And then at the end, still come back and get the work done.
Right. Would you have like a key thing that you would feel like a business partner should never do?
I think business partners should never share too much information with someone outside of the partnership.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because you never know who's watching, you never know who's listening, aka a hater, aka someone that's looking to damage your business.
Right.
So it's always good to keep your personal or even your business within your circle. It's just good to kind of keep things to yourself until the job is actually complete, until you guys get the task done and is in front of people so they can see what you have done. But while it's in development, do not share information.
Okay. That's a good gem right there. We talked, so because you talked about this earlier, but you said you moved to LA and then you came back to New York. So with the work that you do, why not move to California and set up shop out there versus New York? And I only say that because I know that New York is, of course, a global content center just like LA is, but the sentiment I find is that you kind of like work yourself to the bone in New York and you don't really get appreciated for it. Whereas at LA, people come to LA, to kind of like level up or step into whatever light or, whatever they got going on.
Well, when I moved to LA first, I was pretty much like trying to, figure my way out and feel around, as far as where I wanted to be and where I wanted to spend the next couple of years and stuff like that. So I went to LA, and with that in mind, trying to figure things out. And at the time, I wasn't feeling LA like that. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was a beautiful place. But something for me was out of pocket. I was coming from Miami, which is very far away from LA.
Right.
So at the time, I just felt like I was in a completely different world. You know what I mean?
Just a different vibe, too.
Yeah, so it was just a different vibe. And it was just something that wasn't connecting with me. At that same time, my mom, I think at the time, got into this crazy car accident and stuff like that. So I couldn't jump up and move as fast as I wanted to, versus New York where I could just, 2 hours of home.
Right.
At that time, LA, the way the flights were going, it was like 7 hours. So it was just like, it was crazy to me to feel that way that I wasn't close to home. So I think it was a mixture of being homesick and then what was going on with my mom and stuff like that. So it was that whole thing. And then like looking around LA, like, where am I and why am I not connected with this place? Mm-hmm. So, that's when I made the decision to go to New York. And the funny thing about it is when I got to New York, I think, like you said, is you're so busy moving around till you feel like you're not being rewarded. But at the same time, I think what people don't realize is that the movements that you do make in New York, you are being rewarded. You just may not see it in your pockets.
Okay.
So
that's a big thing.
Once you hit the concrete jungle running, I'm telling you, like, things happen, and you may not think it's happening, but it is happening. So I noticed immediately the movements in New York were a little bit faster and more opportunity was happening in New York versus LA. Mm-hmm. So as I'm staying in New York and over the years and things are happening back to back, which make it now 14 years that I've been in New York, I look back and I'm like, wow, it was a good thing that I did move to New York because I'm not sure if I would have had the same experience in LA that I had here or the same opportunities, would have, because there's no place like New York. There's no hustle like New York. And New York's hustle is completely different from LA's hustle. Yeah. In LA, they're a little bit more laid back,
LA's a lot more laid back, bro.
A lot more laid back. So now, those that have gone from New York to LA are killing, one, because they move a lot faster than the ones that live in LA or from LA. Mm-hmm. I don't know, to answer your question, like, why not be in LA versus New York? The thing is that I've experienced New York so much, and it's a home to me now, to the point where there's opportunities and everything knocking here. So it's hard to leave an area where you have so many opportunities and so many things going to go to another place where you don't have anything going. So
do you think that I hear a lot of times with New Yorkers that it's hard to not move. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, and I know this personally from being around New Yorkers, like, and just observing them. Like, it's just, I guess I could say now, you've been there 15 years. You basically New York resident, but like, yeah,
Right.
like it's hard for you guys not to move. You understand what I'm saying? So they find that a lot of New Yorkers find that when they move somewhere with a slower pace, like it makes them physically and mentally uncomfortable. So it's like, it's like, do you think that could be a thing too? It's just like you're just so used to movement that you don't think you could relax.
Absolutely. I feel like, in my mind, I'm like, that will slow me down. And I'm just like, once I get out of that mentality of slowing down and knowing that I can slow down, then I probably would be able to move even more. But I do feel, being that the fact that it is slower, that, I wouldn't get as much done as I would in New York.
All right.
So that's what makes it, a New Yorker think, okay, should I go to LA? Should I not? Relax, not relax, but still getting work done.
Right.
Relax, maybe making some money. I don't know. But, there's that thing. Again, not talking down to LA because I'm not. It's a beautiful place and a great place to work.
I think that's fair. That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fair. Okay, I can agree with that because I moved out west for a little bit too, and I was like, it's different.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like you. It just made more sense. Like all of my network is here physically on the East Coast, specifically Atlanta. So it's like, am I gonna move out there and then start completely from scratch, or am I gonna come back here and kind of just rebuild the momentum that never really stopped? Sort of, kind of. It's just kind of like it chilled because I chilled. Like, you understand what I'm saying? And so I get that. I do get that.
I'm at the point now in my life where if I am going to go to LA, then it has to be some type of momentum from New York that's going to transfer over to LA. It has to be something that I'm in, that, and I'm going and getting a job offer in LA, or knowing, what I'm getting to when I get to LA, not going to LA to start completely over. That's not happening. I know what I want to do. I know what I want to be involved in. So I need to take whatever I'm doing here and take it over there.
All right, and so talking about what you're doing in New York, let's see, Global Grind, Black Planet, Hip Hop Wired, Bossip, what?
Well, not Black Planet though.
Not Black Planet. Okay, yeah, not Black. Yeah. Well, that's Urban One. That's not
same
you.
Family.
Yeah,
same
that's
family,
Urban One, but that's not you.
Yeah.
But so, like, what? All of these very popping brands. What exactly is what does being a social media guru entail? Give me the job. We see the front part, but like, what's the back part?
Oh, the back part, I think, is a lot of research.
Okay.
It's definitely research. It's more getting to know what your audience likes and what they don't like. It's also not necessarily timely, but I think also more of curating a post or a story or what have you, or something that will get someone's attention and make them stay there. Experience the entire thing, not just a swipe and a double tap and keep going, but something that may gravitate them more to actually reading more into the caption and swiping and looking at a story that you may have built or what have you. So there's just a lot of really research and seeing what people like and seeing what age range is looking into your post and what time they're looking into the post, because there are different times that works for you for each platform and stuff like that. So there's just that whole background thing. So analytics is like the most important thing to pay attention to, period.
And so like this quarantine thing, I know for most people they're slowing down, but I mean, like, considering the fact that your social media is booming, I'm guessing business is booming. like I'm guessing you busy right now. Like,
yeah, the crazy thing is, and most of us have been saying this, I think most of us are more busier now than we were before, which is crazy. And, especially now, me, being that I work in social media, everything is kind of now depending on social media.
Right. So
it's making me even more busier than usual, for sure. So everyone is stuck in the house and everyone is on their phone and everyone's on social media like 10 times more now than they were before. Everybody's on IG Live and they never were before.
Everybody is live.
Including myself, I never went live before because there was no reason for me to go live.
Right.
Now there is. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it was that kind of thing. Before, it was just more like a takeover by an artist or an actor or whatever, which didn't really involve you being in front of the camera. Or just us being in the studio recording interviews and us interviewing somebody, in the studio. But now that we don't have access to a studio at all, we're pretty much in our living rooms. We're literally interviewing people from our living room
How did Urban One, iOne Digital, Global Grind, how did that opportunity present itself to you guys?
The whole iOne Digital thing came about. We were approached at the time by. See, now you're making me think back.
That's the point.
It's been a while now.
Well, how long you guys been working with them?
We've been there for, I want to say like 5-6 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been a minute. And long story short, we were referred, again, I guess when you go out and meet people, meet different people and stuff like that, you get to know, you never know who you run into, right?
Right.
So, with building relationships and partnerships and just like staying in touch with people, other people that are involved in the business, we ended up being referred through a friend that was at the company at the time. And, she spoke to one of the heads and was like, hey, I know this duo, they run this site, it's a small boutique site, because they were looking for a small boutique site at the time. And it was like, I think you guys would be interested in them. They're coming from a more of a men's perspective, this, that, and third, blah, blah, blah. So long story short, we ended up having a meeting with the heads at the time of that department that was running most of the media platforms. We spoke with them, and they loved the direction that we were already going in, and they wanted us to be a part of the iOne Digital family, become a studio partner. And I think at the time, we would have been their maybe second studio partner at the time. I think Global Grind might have been the first, and then we were the second.
Okay.
And we were the first small boutique men's site that they took on as well.
And this is stuff a lot of people like?
Yeah, stuff a lot of people like.
Gotcha.
And we, had that talk, and next thing you know, it just became a partnership, and we became a part of iOne Digital. Mm. And since then, it's been a great experience, man. Like, again, leading us into, things that we would never thought we would be a part of. You know what I mean? And in the same home as Global Grind, which is a site that came before us, and we, not only studied what they've done, but we were also, family to them even before the whole partnership thing. So that was kind of crazy. The fact now that years later, I end up becoming, the associate manager of social media for Global Grind is kind of crazy. Mm. It's just things coming back. Just, the way the universe works, you would never think something will come back and hit you and just kind of blossom into, into fruition. Like, it's absolutely crazy.
All right. What advice would you give to anybody that wants to do what you do? Which is a lot of people, actually. But, anybody who wants to seriously do what you do.
I would say the advice that I would give is to, if a person wants to do what I do or get involved in any type of thing when it comes, I think, to media or entertainment or what have you, they would, and it's funny, I just talked about this yesterday with another friend of mine, an artist, and again, I agree with what he says, and this is just things you have to do. You have to be in a place or the city where things are happening within that field. If you want to be, involved in media, entertainment, what have you, you would have to be in cities that, deal with that on a daily basis, which is, cities like Atlanta, New York, LA, and now even, I think even Nashville, like just places like that in general. Yeah, you would think.
Yeah, not for urban?
Yeah, believe it or not.
Nashville?
Believe it or not, there's just certain aspects, yeah. Especially when it comes to, because it's a music city.
Yeah, well, Nashville, it's got the most record labels in the world.
So you may never know where especially when it comes to music, you may never know where that might lead you. So, and even in Nashville, there's different bars. There's a lot of bars that have singers and stuff like that too.
Right.
So, yeah. So it's I just believe it. It's funny you shake your head. I just learned about it too. So, like about a month ago, I got a whole rundown about Nashville, and I was just like, I would never know.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought about that.
Yeah. So, I think going to cities like that and then networking. You got to network. Network is the most important thing that you need to do to accomplish, and it never stops. Networking never stops. I don't care how long you've been in the business, what you're doing, what position you're in. If you're making over 6 figures, you're still going to somewhat end up networking. You may not go to as many events or network as much as you used to when you were grinding at the time, but networking never stops, because there's always somebody that you're going to meet that you don't know. And at the end of the day, once once you meet that person and keep that relationship, then later on something else could happen within, your profession that could, take you to even another level.
Right.
So it's just networking is very important. I know some people are introverts and what have you, then, maybe this business isn't for you if you are that way. No shade to them because, again, people are introverts, people are shy. But I think, eventually you have to come to the understanding that you're going to have to talk to people. You're going to have to network. It's something that you can't do.
Right.
Networking is a very important part of the business.
Two fun questions. So, favorite function or celebrity with a crazy or funny story? Go.
You know what? That will be the week Barclays opened in Brooklyn.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember or heard about it, but when the Barclays first opened, Jay-Z had a concert that entire week.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, he had a concert each day that entire week when the Barclays first opened, that first week that it opened.
Oh, wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah. So we went there and we got invited by Rock Nation Duce at the time. So Duce had a kind of a riser somewhat in the middle of the floor, and it was like a VIP section with a bar and everything, this and that third. So we walk in, and I tell this story all the time because I would never forget it. We walk in, and it was just filling up. So there's just different celebrities in there, a couple of influencers as well, but more celebrities at the time though. Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, Angie Martinez was standing over to our right. She spoke. Queen Latifah eventually walked in. She was standing next to us. We were dancing and partying with her. Taraji P. Henson was on my left. And she introduced me to her son, which at the time was with her, enjoying the concert as well. And I was just like, what? And in my head, it was like, what is happening right now? Because it was happening so fast. And then everyone was just speaking like it was just nothing. Like they've known you for years. And it was like, I'm just meeting these people.
Right.
And, I'm just like, wow, what is going on? So, as a matter of fact, me and Ray was standing there, and we were like, you know what? I think it was either Tuesday or Wednesday that we went. It might have been Wednesday. And we were like, oh, Beyonce's not coming. She's been here every night, so she's probably not going to come, tonight while we're here, whatever, this and the third. No lie, about 10 minutes later after we said that to each other, Beyonce
walks in. Yeah.
Walks in the riser, and we knew something was up because they cleared. There were seats also in that riser, and then the back area is like a standing area. The first two rows, I think they pretty much like cleared out, so everyone was kind of standing up or what have you. So she came and walked in, and she was greeting everybody as she was walking before she even went and sat down, in like a little section or whatever. And she got to myself and Ray, and then she was like, hey, and we were like, when someone sees you and they know you,
right?
And then
seen you in a second,
I haven't seen you in a long time. Yeah, hey,
where you been?
We were like, hey, Beyonce, like we were nervous as hell, and we were like, hey, and she's shaking her hand. She was like, I was like, we were like, we're such and such, and I'm Gabriel, and she was like, no, I know who y'all are. And so we were like, what? What do you mean you know? Right. I know who y'all are. I know exactly who y'all are. Keep doing y'all thing. And we were like,
oh.
And then she just like, she was moved on to the next person, exposed to the next person. I was just like, and we were like looking at each other, did that really just happen?
Which is not completely out the realm of things, because you guys did work at Rock Nation and what's it called? Rockaware, right? So like, yeah. So that's not completely.
And that was early on, which is crazy. So that was a little before that, but we were around,
right.
And like one of those things we
we was around
before too, but it's just like it was just crazy that she said that, and we were stunned,
right?
Completely stunned, and we just enjoyed the rest of the night drinking Douce. Again, I mean, everybody was there, and it was just that was probably one of the best nights I think I've ever had in my entire life.
Wow!
And I mean, that's just one story, but. Yeah, I mean, I think out of all of them, that's probably the best one ever. If I can just rewind and go back to that night as many times as I wanted to, I would.
I mean, that sounds good.
I was just, and then just enjoying the concert and the VIP section with, drinking something that Jay-Z owns and watching a concert of all of his entire catalog, you know what I'm saying? It was really an amazing moment. Like, you know, you would think we thought we were in a dream or in a movie, like, you know, because we didn't think that was real. But, you know, again, it just goes back to, you know, the work that you put in, it comes to fruition. I mean, and you would never imagine that it will come in, you know, in packages like it did that night for us. Right. And it did. Like, it really, really, really did.
I've heard she smells like amazing.
She does. Don't lie, when she walked in, you could just smell like a breeze of just this fresh, like, scent that just went all over the place, bro.
It was like it's
just
her.
Just how security cleared those 2 rows out. You would think her scent just cleared those 2 rows.
It's her and Rihanna. I hear smell amazing. Like those 2 women. Like everybody, like, yo, they smell like. And Prince, but Prince is, you know, R.I.P. But like, it's like when
it's like when they walk in, they're literally walking on air, on clouds. Like they're like floating. Like, hey, how are you? Good to see you. Like,
I felt that way the first time I met Kelly Rowland. Like, I was like, my God. Like, I've never seen a more beautiful, dark-skinned woman in my life. Like, I have no flaw. Like, it was like a diamond stepping out of the car. Like, she just glittered and shit. And I was like, I was like, hi, Miss Rowland. She's like, hey, baby. I said, yo, she said, hey to me, nigga. She said, hey, you saw that shit, right?
One of the nicest people you would ever meet. Yes. She's so nice. Kelly's so nice. She's so humble. I mean, she is absolutely amazing. Like, she is another one that's at the top of my list. Like, you wouldn't just sitting there, just kind of just speaking with her, talking with her. You wouldn't think that she, you know, was a celebrity or something. Like she was just so down to earth.
Yeah, like she's just like she came out. She got us. This is when I was working at the club. Like she came in, she came out, walked up, you know, got in her section, was just saying hi to everybody, just parlaying, said hi to all the promoters and everybody. Were like, it was just.
And she even did a favor for me at the time when I first met her. I told her that it was someone's birthday, and I was like, "Can I FaceTime you real quick and can you say happy birthday?" She was like, "Yeah, go ahead." And I was like,
"Wait, what?"
Okay. Like, it was crazy.
Oh boy, good old days. Good old days. You got me reminiscing now, man. Too. Last question, I think, is the funnest question. It's probably the most serious because there are people that want to know, man. During this quarantine time, do you have a Corona bag?
Do I have
I love how it catches everybody off guard. Wait, what?
What is that? Who?
Oh man, it catches everyone off guard every time. I love it. 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 I love that question.
You know, unfortunately, no. But at the same time, I'm good. I'm actually good. I'm not like, you know, one thing about me, and I'm the only child too. You know, I have brothers and sisters on my dad's side, but I'm the only child. Same. So being by myself when I need to be is not an issue. Hard task at all.
It's not.
So, you know, yeah, it would be good to have a quarantine bay, you know, COVID bay, or whatever you want to call it. Corona bay, you know, but you know, it's not something that I have to have. You know, if I did, that would be great. It would be excellent. But no, I don't need to run out and get. No, I'm good. And, you know, it didn't happen before the quarantine, and I'm cool with that. And it's not going to happen during the quarantine because I'm not quarantined with you. So
he's like, yo, you like, I live in New York. I am not playing that.
So we gonna social distance and FaceTime until the right time. I'm good.
Oh man.
So social distance, FaceTime. What's the other stuff? House party, Zoom, or you know, all these good old platforms to use. But yeah.
Okay, man. This has been a very fun conversation, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Nate. I appreciate you having me, man. Seriously, I hope I answered everything. I know I'm a little long-winded sometimes, but I hope I answered all the questions.
You got it.
As accurate as possible.
Yeah, you got it, man. You actually answered a few. Like, you went down my list a little bit, and then you took a left, and then I was like, okay, well, we're going to have to go back right, and then we go back there. Yeah, so, like,
I get in preacher mode, my bad.
But yeah, so that's it, man. I'm JC. That was Gabe. We out. Appreciate you, boss.
Yes, sir.
And ladies and gents, that's it. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed the convo. If you want to be a guest on the show, or you know somebody that might be a good guest for the show, go ahead and send an email over to me. That's jc@theovt.com. Once again, that is jc@theovt.com. This podcast is available on Apple, Spotify, and Anchor, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment. And all of our content is now available on YouTube. We got video interviews, we got audio interviews, and original content, all on the channel. Just type in the OVT Network and hit subscribe. Stay sane, stay safe, stay creative. Peace. I don't have corona. I have allergies, and I don't know if you know anything about Georgia.
Okay.
But their pollen is different. So
That I do know.
the pollen here is different. Man, listen, bro. Listen, I walk outside. I went somewhere. Within 10, 15 minutes, I sounded like I had the flu. I'm like sneezing and coughing. It's bad. It's bad.
You can't go into the store like that. People look at you like,
Nah, I hold it down. I hold it down when I'm in public. I be like, you know, I just turn to the side with it and shit. But like